out for them, especially in this Necrotic Wake. We've seen them do those like pre-905 pulls, and they had 24 deaths in total lost to PIME in this specific dungeon. So they have to perform quite a lot better if they want to be winning against Golden Guardians here.
Yeah, no question. And, Necrotic Wake's a very important dungeon as well for Echo, because this was sort of the beginning for the end for them yesterday. This is where they were tripping, they were falling, making mistakes that are just uncharacteristic of them. So this dungeon means a lot to these guys to get that redemption arc going, to start that lower bracket run that they really want to get it going. Here we go. Game number 1 between Golden Guardians and Echo kicks off in Necrotic Wake.
This dungeon is such a fiesta every single time we've seen it this weekend. Echo is doing a very similar pull to what we saw from them yesterday. Again, going with all this trash straight into Blightbone. Do note that it is Sanguine, so there was Sanguine healing coming in on Blightbone yesterday for the side of Echo whenever they were doing this pull. On the other side, Golden Guardians doing a really good job to get their first trash back down, taking a little bit more conservative of an approach.
Yeah, so the best time that we had in Necrotic Wake to note is actually from Sloth, the number 8 seed team that is already eliminated. They had a 14 minutes 49 time, which is actually incredibly fast. And we have not seen Golden Guardians at all in this dungeon yet. So this is the first time we see Golden Guardians here. And this is also the last time that we see this dungeon, at least without the tiebreakers that we're going to be seeing later on. So Golden Guardians... this might be a dungeon they haven't practiced too much yet. And you can also see that they are not doing as risky of a pull as Echo is doing, right? So they dealt with the trash first, dealt with the pride, and now they're using that Goliath buff to engage the boss. Well, Echo is taking quite a long time, though, for a Blightborn here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just the consequence of... So since they pulled all of the trash on top of the boss, and then they have the pride spawning on top of that, the damage on the boss is going to be significantly reduced because they're not using a lot of cooldowns to effectively go into the boss. They're just using the boss more as like a cleave target. So, but it is still significantly more efficient. And so while Golden Guardians is definitely going to kill the boss within like 10 seconds, Echo has definitely gotten a significant portion of their trash, and now they're making their way through the incident. So the efficiency of the cleave definitely being a little bit stronger on the side of Echo. Golden Guardians now downing Blightbone. Golden Guardians pulled a little bit different trash. So we saw Echo grab that top landing pack, where we see Golden Guardians actually just walking away from that. So there's definitely a little bit different of a trash. I would say that that's probably due to the opening pull. That was probably where the difference even comes through.
Yeah, I mean, they end up both being at 37% trash,
Yeah.
so they doesn't matter what they actually pulled, but considering that Echo did their trash plus boss in one pull, right? Like, it was basically all within one combat time, while Golden Guardians had 2 separate pulls. And Golden Guardians really not that far behind, considering that it took them one more pull. Just because Echo lost time having to move the boss out of the Sanguine, having to move around, being able to survive, walking to the Kyrian orbs, and so on. So in the end, not as big of a net time gain for Echo to do this boss pull, at least in comparison to what Golden Guardians did. As now both of them are fighting that 40% pride.
Yeah, okay, so now Echo is actually starting to take a little bit of a lead. Echo ended up pulling Nerzuda, which is that mini-boss pack, with the rest of the trash that was in this area, and used their orb on that, whereas the Golden Guardians are taking a little bit slower of a pull, not pulling that mini-boss. That mini-boss is actually scary, so electing to not pull that is a reasonable expectation. Now Echo is onto this Bone Reaver, though.
I really like what they just did. So what just happened was that Gingy pulled the 2 Marauders that are at the exit of the bridge. He walked to the side, pulled them away, and then he used invisibility to de-aggro them while the rest of the team walked past. So the Marauders, they just said, you know what, we don't want them. It's just too many shields that we have to break. It's too many interrupts that we need on those fear casts. We're just going to skip them. So really nice use of mage utility here to be able to just completely skip those Marauders without having to use any sort of invisibility or anything like that, as they're up to 68% trash now.
Hey, look at this, Nagura. Golden Guardians are actually activating this other Goliath. We haven't seen many, if any, teams actually doing that Necromancer to be able to activate this Goliath for that Anima Exhaust buff up until this point. But now we do see the Golden Guardians are grabbing the Skeletal Monstrosity with all this trash, but they have the Anima Exhaust to help their damage by a pretty considerable amount. Where Echo They've already spawned their 60% pride, and you see Mira's, he's positioning himself up top so he can grip Jeeth probably over this little platform ledge, because Jeeth doesn't have access to things such as like Shadow Meld and whatnot to be able to actually make it through this Necromancer pack.
Yeah, this is a really good use because Maris was also the one who triggered the event here, because once you trigger this event, it takes quite a long time until a Marth is even attackable. So Maris using that invisibility potion to just go past the pack, dealt damage to the Pride from the top, and then after the Pride was done, they just gripped up Judith. So very, very efficient here. It looks like Shakib might be doing something similar as he's walking over to the left as well. And maybe it doesn't even need invisibility. Maybe Mind Soothe is already enough actually for the priests. So maybe that's why the priests are going there. But yeah, good job by both of the teams making sure they're proccing that event a bit faster. But Echo just dealing with the trash slightly quicker as they're already about to finish off Amarth, while Golden Guardians just now got done with their Pride.
It looks like Golden Guardians are actually gearing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick! the multi-seater mount grip tech. That's actually so smart.
Yeah.
So helping your friends get past terrain like that. Good job using that priest utility. I'm sure Jack is smiling somewhere.
Yeah, definitely really nice. It does take a little bit of a time to of course, throw off your passengers to be able to mount up. But I would say it's definitely worth it for Golden Guardians to save that movement time all the way around. And you also have to not use any sort of potions or movement speed tricks. So you can save the movement speed for later on, those kind of like Door of Shadows or whatever you have available. So really, really like this by Golden Guardians. The only person who had to walk around was I'm Fired Up, of course, but he's got enough utility, mobility, to be able to go around quick. Echo now gearing up their really huge pull here in the Necropolis. This is really crucial for now to be able to stay alive here.
Yeah, this is the last super difficult part of the dungeon, just depending on how big these teams believe that they can go during this area. You do see Echo really managing their Sanguine healing well. They use that Death Grip to be able to get that Loyal Creation out of that Sanguine. They're killing off their 80% Manifestation of Pride. Looks like somebody used a hammer on it, or maybe it just got chunked for a considerable amount of its HP. It's because it didn't get stunned, so I don't believe that they hammered it, actually, now that I'm really thinking about it. But now Golden Guardians. Oh, it probably was a cleaver. You're right. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so seeing the cleaver, the Flesh Crafter, sorry, in the corner, which you could just rename it to cleaver because that's what they're being used for. Because of that ability that targets a player, throws a cleaver at them, and it actually also does damage to enemies, not just your own players. So they really have been using this to their advantage here in a Necrotic Wake. And we've also seen them even carry one of those Flesh Crafters to the next trash groups, which we've only seen them do that with Mind Control, because Mind Control makes the Flesh Crafter basically appear as if it's not an enemy, and therefore the next trash group, the next gauntlet, is just spawning. Otherwise, you would not be able to do that. So really nice use of a priest utility here for all of those teams, as we see Maris just now mind controlling it, but it looks like it was too low HP, and they actually just finished it off.
Interesting. They would have liked to have used those throw cleavers to help them just go a little bit faster in this area, but unfortunately enough, not meant to be. So now you do see the Golden Guardians here doing the last pull before they end up spawning those double assistants, where on the side of Echo, they already have their assistants spawning, and these mobs we've seen cause a decent amount of problems. There's been a lot of Sanguine healing from these guys.
Yeah, definitely. They want to make sure that the assistants are a bit apart, because usually you have one assistant die before the other because of the cleaver mechanic that you're putting into them. You can see they're already a bit apart for Echo, so theoretically they should be enough apart for the Sanguine to not heal, but we'll see. Now I actually just moved it a little bit apart even further to be able to not have any Sanguine healing whatsoever. Yeah, good job
perfect
for Echo. It was really close with the pool, but they did manage. As Yoda now also is gathering up those two assistants. They are a bit luckier on Golden Guardian side because they didn't have both of the cleavers on the same person. While Echo did have the cleavers both on Jeeth, and if you have double fixate, you can of course not get both of the cleavers into the assistants, but only one. So a little bit luckier RNG, I guess, for Golden Guardians, as they have the cleavers on 2 different kind of people.
Yeah,
it looks like...
yeah, exactly. So they're keeping this Fleshcrafter CC'd on the side of Golden Guardians too, and continuing to mind control it so it will keep spawning the RP. I wonder if they're going to use it on Stitchflesh, or like where they would even use it later.
I hear there's a little bit of a dogfight at Daniel's place.
Please don't refer to it as a dogfight. It's not what's happening.
As I see, Echo is now dealing with the last mob group here with the Rot Spew. The Rot Spew can cause some issues because of that area of denial it puts on the ground. It also targets random people in a group, and it can do a huge amount of damage on fortified, but shouldn't be an issue for Echo, as Golden Guardians is fighting the trash pack to the left. So there's just one trash pack difference right now between Golden Guardians and Echo, which Golden Guardians can theoretically make up on the bosses, but it's going to be hard. I assume that both of the teams still have the same amount of weapons left. If Golden Guardians somehow managed to save a weapon previously and still have it left, then it's possible they could make up time. And they also have the Fleshcrafter, which Echo does not have, bit. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That'll help them kill the Pride. That'll also help them kill Surge of Stitchflesh in general. But if you had to pick a side, I think you would absolutely rather be in Echo's shoes here. I think that they are something in the magnitude of probably like 45 seconds ahead, if I just had to guess. I think that just came... I think that they gained a lot of time off the mini-boss pull after the first boss, doing that with like the big anima orb. I feel like that was a pretty solid time save, just as a whole in the dungeon. But the Manifestation of Pride is about to go down for Echo. They have also engaged the creation a little bit early, so that will help them have full uptime on this Prideful buff when Stitchflesh comes down, and now they're able to just burn him with that Prideful buff. They're trying to make sure that he doesn't leap back up top, because if he leaps back up top, they can lose significant amounts of time there.
Yeah, definitely. They want to make sure they have enough damage to finish off this boss before that happens. And it looks like they are going to be able to do that, as Stitchflesh is already below 55%. There we go. It is going down. They still have the Pride, actually. So they already had done the Pride. So you can see the Pride buff is still up. That means that... oh yeah, Golden Guardians did skip the Pride. You are right.
They haven't skipped it. They haven't spawned it.
Oh yeah, they haven't spawned it because of the Fleshcrafter, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just going to be too little too late, because Echo still has the Pride buff, and they're going to be having a lot of damage here. They also have a bunch of weapons left. They have some hammers, and not sure if Miras does have a spear as well. Probably not. I assume it's just going to be hammers that are left. But either way, they still have a huge amount of damage here. They're probably going to be delaying the Dark Exile with Shadow Melts. There we go. First one on Fragments. Shadow Melt being used to delay the cast. Second Dark Exile going out. On Fragments again. Very unlucky, as they cannot delay it even further because Fragments get the Exile twice.
Yeah. So now Nalthor is dipping below 50% HP. Once you do have the Dark Exile start to go off pretty consistently, then the boss kill time starts to slow down dramatically. And this is definitely one of those fights that, like, the faster you kill it, it gets exponentially quicker. Golden Guardians, on the other side, have killed Surge and Stitchflesh really, really slow by comparison of what we saw from Echo. And it's due to the fact that they're about to get their Pride right here. And so while they will get basically what is exponential gains on the Prideful buff onto Nalthor compared to Stitchflesh, it's definitely a little bit too little too late, unfortunately, for the Golden Guardians, I think. Echo, you do see Jeeth there dropping that Ashen Hollow, starting to ascend to the damage meter as he does end up climbing. Fragments has come back from his Dark Exile. It looks like Genji is now downstairs, but Nalthor is still dropping incredibly low here.
Yeah, Genji did not use the Shadow Melt to delay it, so maybe he's even a hammer left. But there we go, Nalthor just melting as he is going down. And Echo is winning that first dungeon against Golden Guardians with an incredible time, 13:41.
Now that is the run that Echo wanted to be starting their day off. A huge, huge run here in Necrotic Wake to take that victory. And probably one of the best Necrotic Wakes we've seen this entire weekend as well, Dranos.
Yeah, I mean, this is a show of force from Echo. Really great work, given that this was the dungeon that started their fall against PI Me yesterday. And so the fact that they've been able to come in here against Golden Guardians in 13 minutes, 40 seconds, I mean, There were rumors of the 14-minute run that Echo might have had, and they have come in under that here at 1340, a completely absurd time for this post-905 version of Necrotic Wake without that ability to have all that extra rogue damage. So really, really incredible from Echo, and very impressive performance all around.
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing people take victories. I mean, for example, Piami took the Necrotic Wake victory off of Echo yesterday with a 19-minute run, and they had 1 death. So just being able to have such crazy acceleration there, Nagura, flawlessly executed and everything like that. I mean, this is the Echo that we've been expecting to see and have known for such a long time.
Yeah, this is what's so scary about Echo. I mean, if they play those pulls flawlessly, then it looks so clean, it looks so easy for them. It's like, people are asking, why doesn't every team do those pulls? Why isn't everyone that fast? But then you see Echo yesterday, where they played this Necrotic Wake, they had 24 deaths, and they lost to Piami with a much slower time, because those pulls that they're doing are so risky and so volatile. If they work out, they have these incredibly fast times. But things can easily go wrong if you just make one single mistake.
Well, it's because the European servers in the European region hasn't experienced daylight savings time yet, and the North American region is missing an hour.
I see.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks, Tettles.
Thanks, Tettles. Dranos, what do you got for us? I just can't right now.
Yeah, I also didn't get enough sleep to deal with this. So here's the first pull of the dungeon, and this was the strategy that Golden Guardians had, and I actually really like this strategy of taking the first bit of the dungeon a little bit more slowly and hoping that Echo would have something similar go wrong for them. This was that pull that happened for Echo where things did start going so wrong for them against Piami yesterday, but Echo showed us a completely different side of this dungeon with their maneuvering throughout here, with their activating this Goliath later on during this manifestation of pride, during that Blightborn encounter, and then they were able to just completely obliterate that section of the dungeon. Here's that cool piece of tech that Tettles highlighted when it happened, but there's another look at it where you had the life grip up with the multi-seater mount, allowing the entire team to skip past that area on the side of Golden Guardians. A little neat bit of innovation. But the fact that Echo was able to just make all their big pulls work out. This pull here in the Necropolis, another really sketchy pull with a lot of enemies involved there without the benefit of those rogue weapons. Extremely, extremely impressive. And I think Golden Guardians had a good strategy in there. Golden Guardians, I mean, they were going to come in with a time that was well under the time that Piami beat Echo with. So I really liked what they were up to in here. It just was not going to stand up to 13 minutes 40 out of Echo. I mean, I don't know if any team is realistically going to come close to 1340 in Necrotic Wake this weekend, except for Echo.
Yeah, and that right there just goes to show how they've kind of bounced back and how a lot of times they're able to just, we messed up, we made mistakes and everything like that, but whenever Echo is down, they're usually not down for very long. Now, as we set our sights settles onto Mists, however, we've already been seeing some impressive performances by Golden Guardians in this dungeon.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've seen both of these teams run basically as zero-death Mists. Golden Guardians' best time that we saw was 13:20. Echo ran a 12:59, so they're within 20.
They didn't run it.
Oh,
we didn't see that.
Okay,
It was the fastest run was Obey Alliance, right? With 59. Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Tattles, you getting enough sleep?
I misunderstood what that note meant. I'll be honest with you. Never mind. We saw.
My bad.
We did see Golden Guardians run this. They ended up running like a Moonkin comp, where we actually ended up seeing them skip the phase on Mistcaller. There was a lot of good things that they did in that dungeon. How they pathed through the maze, I thought it was really interesting. I don't know like what really the best path through the maze is. We saw like differences in terms of like the pathing, but I do expect that Echo is going to have something that is also probably a little bit different of a take on it, because I think that Mist is a weird dungeon where everybody kind of has a slightly different answer for what they want to do there, whether or not it be like how they're pulling some of the prides and like what they're pulling at the very beginning of the dungeon.
Yeah, and we've already been able to see a bit of extra tech of people just jumping the walls, people trying to get around some of the different packs in interesting ways. But one thing I didn't see and didn't figure out, Dratnos, is some of the pulls that they did to grab trash mobs into Mistcaller's room. Did you see how they executed that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I assume
Alright.
it's the.
Well, that's what I'm gonna watch for.
They run. So whenever they come in, like the door is open at the back, and they like walk like off screen back into like the
But
left.
is it open? Isn't it because of the maze? Isn't it closed?
I think
I
in the
thought it
Mistcaller
opens
room,
after
the door is
you
open. Yeah.
Defeat Mistcaller.
Maybe.
No.
I thought they were still closed, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I definitely want to watch
Well,
for that and see what they were doing.
They're definitely grabbing that trash bag. I guess I don't know technically how because I've never done it, but I've seen them do it off screen.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to figure out the mystery in Mists of Tirna Scythe here as game number 2 is set to get underway. Echo up 1 right now, both trying to survive in this lower bracket as the dungeon gets rolling.
All right, so we do see Echo also running this Moonkin composition that we have been seeing them run recently. It actually took Echo quite a while to even play the Moonkin at all, because Echo seemed to be this one team who didn't like the Moonkin in a lot of the dungeons, right? We've seen in Mists, for example, they have been running this DK Windwalker Mage comp, even though other teams have been running the Moonkin. But now Echo also changing to this Moonkin here as well in Mists, which might or might not be better. We still have to figure out as all of these teams still adjust their strategies from cup to cup. Mists is an interesting dungeon to me, to be honest, because on live servers, it seems like such a straightforward dungeon. But in the MDI, it really seems like they really innovate every single cup, and they like figure out how to somehow make the maze a little bit faster by moving the pride into the other pack. And it's just interesting to see how those teams are innovating here.
Yeah, I mean, already we're seeing a difference in like pathing. You do see Echo there. They grab the double villager at the beginning, which means that their pride timings and are just going to be a little bit different in the maze than what we've seen from Golden Guardians. And it just means that the count that they're going to get is going to be a little bit higher, resulting in just like differences of where they're going to be having that pride spawn, where they're going to be cleaving it down. And just like you have to determine where the most efficient stuff is. But something that's going to be consistent between the two teams is they're definitely both going to have their 20% prideful for this first boss. They're going to cleave down this trash pack. They're going to effectively bolster kill it, basically kill all the mobs even to get the pride spawning at the to get the pride not spawning super early, because that could be pretty dangerous. But Echo having some slight issues killing all their mobs off evenly, having those enraged mobs sitting there beating up now while the pride is spawning.
Yeah, definitely having some issues here. They do, of course, have the Druid who can soothe off the enrage effects, which can be helpful for some pulls. But, of course, since it is on a 10-second cooldown, you cannot dispel all of those mobs. And they probably don't even attempt to, because it's a global, which is obviously a damage loss. So we don't want to have that. As Echo and Golden Guardians are fighting that pride, we've seen some teams pull the pride into the boss. It doesn't look like Golden Guardian is attempting that as they're finishing it off. And Echo also doesn't look like they want to pull it in, as both of the teams dropping pretty low because no one wants to be using any sort of offensives here. In fact, Fragments even popped his Heart of the Wild, helping out with healing a little because of the fact that they just don't have any offensive cooldowns.
That's actually a really smart play. So now you do see Droman killed off on the side of Golden Guardians. You saw the Ashen Hollow go down really early, and JB literally just beating up Droman, helping them push straight through that phase, making sure that they do have their prideful buff for the full duration, and they do have everything for that burn of Ingram Malik. It goes down immediately. And now on the left side of your screen, you're going to see Lip do this very interesting technique where he's going to flap like over the wall. It's not like over the wall, but it's up against the wall, and be able to tag the 4-pack through that door that they have recently patched up, and that will help the rest of his party just turn this 2-pull into a 4-pack. On the right-hand side, Echo has downed the exact same pack, and you're probably going to see Frag do something similar as well with the flap tech.
Now just getting chunked so low from this initial melee attack from those double defenders. Did manage to recover though, and yeah, both of them are pulling this extra pack in. Now, it looks like Echo is behind because they killed the boss a bit later, but they're 6% ahead in trash from before this maze area. So that definitely means 6% is quite a lot. So that could be like one extra pack that you don't have to deal with. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that trash and see what Golden Guardians is doing compared to Echo, and where they can make up time from that extra percentage that they had previously.
Yeah. So now here you do see Golden Guardians downing their first trash pack just slightly earlier than Echo, but Echo does have a 5% enemy forces lead off of pulling that double villager at the very beginning. And Echo, I feel like they're starting to claw back a little bit of the time that villager does end up costing them. But again, it's not. There's nothing that is like too substantial yet. I think one of the bigger time saves is definitely going to be if like one team is able to phase Mistcaller one cycle earlier on the guessing game than the other team. I think that would save a considerable amount of time. But for right now, basically the differences in the two routes are where both of these teams are getting the pride. So now Echo has spawned their 40% pride, and they're going to be cleaving it down with this matriarch, whereas Golden Guardians are playing this matriarch by itself.
Yeah, so here's the difference already. Now all of the pride timers are going to be different. Of course, the matriarch is very slow to deal with if you're not pulling anything on top. So I do think I like having the pride here, just because it's just an extra target to cleave. Now I'm not sure how good the cleave can be from these teams, considering that you have to kill the pride in a certain time. Like, you can't necessarily fully double cleave if you're going to be losing a lot of single target damage, right? So not sure how much time they're actually saving. The pride is down that, and the matriarch was still like 50-60% HP, so didn't gain them as much time, as Golden Guardian is now just pulling that pride into the next pack, it seems like.
Interestingly enough, they used the Celestial Alignment and Convoke before they pulled the trash pack to make sure that Lips, all of his Convoke went straight into the Pride itself. And I think that that's actually super safe. Everybody's dropping so low. Fired Up even actually ends up going down to the Stinger Circle. That was very unfortunate. They do have a Battle Res available. You do see Lip casting that Rebirth right there. On the other side, Echo looking a little bit more clean with their pack. Miraz is dropping really low to that bleed from that dog. That really can be dangerous. That Stalker's Bite, especially whenever it's enraged, can cause potentially problems. But Echo doing a great job of being able to deal with that. And Echo just did a double pull there and slingshot themselves ahead of the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, that was incredibly clean executed by Echo, as they're now spotting that pride. Looks like they're also dragging it into that next trash pack. So really, really efficient with those prides. Just they keep pulling them into those next trash groups, just making sure they're as efficient as possible. While Golden Guardian, with that death on I'm Fired Up, definitely lost a little bit of time there. Everyone just dropped so low as they were engaging this pack. There were 2 Stalkers, and it looked like Lip even got 2 of those bleed effects, which made him drop so incredibly low. And now they wanted to get the exit, but they didn't manage to.
They got it.
Okay, there we go. I'm Fired Up had to use Shadow Melt to be able to drop combat so they can open up the maze here, because you cannot do that once you're in combat. So now with the Shadow Melt, they were able to do so. Now we're gonna see how they pull trash really well, because it is, yeah, there we go. Lip is just walking over there. Unfortunately, we switched point of view just as we would have. Cameraman does hate us, so we still don't know how they're pulling this through the wall. It's very possible that there's just like another, because you can see the maze is still closed, right? So maybe there's like another kind of fence they can jump over. Not sure. Either way, they're both on Mistcaller now.
All right, Echo has started to take a little bit of a lead on Mistcaller, though. Definitely already gotten Mistcaller down to 50% HP. They're going to start their second guessing game here momentarily. Golden Guardians have engaged their first guessing game. They do still have that prideful buff for a higher percentage of uptime actually on this boss, which should allow them to catch back up a little bit more, because Echoes did expire just slightly earlier. But oh goodness, she keep dodging that Vulpin. Really good job. And Echo has started their second guessing game on the right-hand side of your screen, though.
Yeah, so it looks like if we look at the Celestial Alignment cooldown from Fragments, it still seems to be decently off. So maybe he's not going to be getting his cooldowns up at the 10% mark, which might either mean that they don't plan on skipping that phase at all. Maybe they think it's not worth it, or they think that they can do it without the CA and only the Convoke. That is, and the combustion of the mage. That is still a possibility.
They just use Convoke.
They just use Convoke, so that means that they maybe just don't attempt to skip it at all. As Mistcaller is now dropping below 10%, and yeah, it looks like they're not committing anything really, as they're just going to be playing that last guessing game.
But
well, we do know that Golden Guardians does want to skip this phase, so they might be making up some time if they manage to do so.
Yeah, this is definitely where Golden Guardians can catch back up. If they are able to burn straight through this, you do see the combustion coming out of Fired Up, him trying to push Mistcaller at that 10% HP, and then you're going to see Lip here popping all of his damage cooldowns in just a moment. There's that CA Convoke the Spirit.
Full
moon proc, easy. And now, even footing. Honestly, this is incredibly even going straight into this back half of the dungeon. Echo did end up killing Mistcaller a few seconds ahead, but Golden Guardians able to claw back a little bit of time there.
Yeah, most definitely. The downside is now going to be, of course, that Lip is out of cooldowns, while Fragrance just had his cooldowns back up, and same goes with Combustion. Gingy's Combustion is going to be back up very soon, while Golden Guardians has those cooldowns down for a little bit. So that is going to be the difference here now, which, to be fair, should be worth it for Golden Guardians, right? Now we also have the travel time here, and we see both of the teams just gathering up this double pull, both of these Staghorn groups, which can be dangerous to interrupt. In fact, Echo is pulling a third group on top of it even. This is a huge pull for Echo.
This is a very, very scary pull coming in from Echo as well. Especially if they don't kill everything off evenly. They're going to spawn their 80% pride off of some of this. They have a lot of Reavers in this pull as well. But it looks like they're doing a great job of killing everything super even, Nagura, and they're spawning their 80% pride here.
And Fragrance did not even commit his Celestial Lament and his Convoke. That means that he still has the cooldowns for the boss after this, while Golden Guardians did not also spawn their 80% pride, but they're still 3% behind in trash because they did a little bit of a smaller pull on their side. Of course, they also didn't have those cooldowns available. At least the combustion was not up immediately in that pull, so maybe they were not confident in doing this. As Echo is now dragging that pride into that next pack, they might be pulling this pack on top of the boss now and just cleave it down with the boss. This is not going to proc them 100% pride, and they also don't want to have the 100% pride procced, so they're just going to be using all of their cooldowns here to just cleave the boss and the trash pack as well. Having all of the cooldowns available is really going to help them out here for the boss.
I think that they're going to also need a little bit more than just the larva as well to spawn their 100%, or to get them to 100%. I think they actually may need to kill some of those Gorgers or Acid Gullets off to the side. It depends on where they land count-wise, though. Seeing them at 90, or whatever they were at, 90% coming into this pull, makes me believe that they're going to have to pull a little bit more trash, especially looking at what Golden Guardians is effectively pulling straight into the boss, because they're going to be at 99. Yeah, they're going to be at 99 once all this stuff dies, I think, from what I remember. Maybe they'll be at the exact same count, though.
They did pull like a Reaver pack into that previous pack where Echo pulled the triple pack. So Golden Guardians did have those 2 extra Reavers that are actually going to be giving them a slight advantage in percentage. You are right. They might be going up to 99 because of those Reavers that they pulled. Which, by the way, was pretty sketchy, as Shakib had like 3 debuffs on him, but somehow did survive that triple poison debuff. I'm Fired Up dropping incredibly low. He does have Cauterize available though, and Ice Block, so he should be in danger whatsoever. Both of the tanks also having that Last Resort available as well in case something does go wrong. But Tredova dropping so quickly for Echo. This is tyrannical, so this boss has a lot of HP. So Echo being so far ahead in boss HP. Yeah, their Bloodlust is just about to be ready in 3 seconds when the boss is dead. They're going to be using it to just finish up that last trash that they just disengage by Fragrance towards his bonded partner. That's not where you want to go. But either way, they did manage to break those bonds as they're now finishing up the boss. And I think this is just going to be Echo winning this. It's 100% trash as well. And yes, it's going to be Echo winning that game against Golden Guardians 2-0. Wow.
Echo taking that victory, and in both of those games, Golden Guardians isn't far behind onto this one, so it's unbelievably frustrating losing so closely to your opposing team. But I think if there's any bright side to this for Golden Guardians, Stratos, it's that they're not far from some of the best teams out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too unhappy with this weekend's performance from the side of Golden Guardians, right? You made it to Sunday. That's something that had been challenging for them up until this point. It's the first time doing that. You end up going down to Echo, and sure, it's in the lower semis, right? Not the lower finals, not the cup finals, but it's still Echo that you've lost to. And it's not like your runs were bad. The runs were good, and it happened to line up such that you were up against Echo in 2 of their very fastest dungeons, right? And in 2 dungeons where they had 0 death, clean runs. So, I mean, I think Golden Guardians definitely have a lot to be happy about how this weekend went. A lot of dungeons looked really, really good for them. They beat a lot of teams that had previously had the better of them as well. And so I'm excited to see what they can make happen once we get to the global finals. It's not the last we've seen from Golden Guardians as well. They have secured a tiebreaker to fight for that 5th seed instead of the 6th seed up against Does Gargoyle Stream. So that at least will be something that happens after our Cup finals today.
Very true.